Hello everyone, welcome to our channel Spark of Curiosity. Aeroplanes, the machine that has made the world a smaller place. But many people are still afraid to fly, because of which they are deprived of the awe-inspiring beauty of this planet. In this video, we will try to put these people at ease by exploring how a 500-ton beast can still take to the skies. So without further ado, let's get on with it. To stay updated with Spark of Curiosity, please subscribe to the channel and hit the bell icon. Many people are fearful of boarding a plane, wondering as to how a 500-ton behemoth could fly in thin air. We have all seen birds fly. We know that they are light because of their lean mass and hollow bones. So as they are lightweight and have wings, they just flap those wings and get airborne. But how does this huge piece of metal fly? It is neither light nor can flap its wings. So how is it possible? To answer the first question, we all know about dinosaurs, and we also know that a few of them could fly. For example, Quetzalcoatlus, which weighed 250 kilograms, could fly. So weight does not restrict any object from flying as long as it covers the other aerodynamic requirements. Now coming to flapping of wings, the bird or the dinosaur does it to generate airflow over the wings. The plane does not have to flap its wings to generate airflow over them, because it can just roll down the runway at high speeds, thereby achieving the same result. The main force that keeps the plane on the ground is gravity. So for the plane to be able to take to the skies, it has to overcome gravity. So how it does that is by generating lift. This lift is a force which is produced by the plane's wings as it runs down the runway at high speeds. The cross-section of the wings of a plane has an airfoil design. What this means is that as air flows over the wings, the air flowing on the top surface of the wing flows faster when compared to the air flowing on the bottom surface. This is because of Coanda effect. There is a lot of fluid dynamics at play here, so we will see this in a different video. What you will have to know is that the air flowing over the top surface of the wing is faster than the air flowing over the bottom surface, which means that by Bernoulli's theorem, the pressure above the wing is lower when compared to the pressure below it. As we all know, any object will always move from a region of higher pressure to a region of lower pressure. This is what happens with the plane as well. So this is how a plane's wing generate lift. And when the lift generated by the wings is more than the gravitational pull of the earth on the plane starts to fly. So as long as the plane needs to be airborne, it has to generate a lift force greater than the gravitational force. This can be done by maintaining the required speed of the air flowing over the wings. So that is how a huge piece of metal is able to fly. But there is another force that the plane encounters as it's flying through the air, and that is the drag force generated due to the friction between the air and the plane's external surface. To reduce this force, the plane is aerodynamically designed. That is, it has a shape which will allow it to cut through air and thereby reducing the drag force. But even after this, there will be some drag force, but that will be compensated by the thrust force generated by the plane's engines. It is this thrust force which propels the aircraft through the air in the direction of the flight and enables it to maintain the required airspeed in order to remain airborne. This was all about how an aircraft can fly. But if you have ever flown a paper aeroplane, you would have noticed that even though the paper aeroplane flies, you will not have much control over its flight path. So the next challenge is to be able to control our huge aeroplane. This is done by the control surfaces on the plane. These are located both on the wings and on the tail section of the plane. The three main motions of the plane flying through the air are its pitch, yaw, and roll. The pitch of the plane is the position of the nose of the plane with respect to the ground, and this is controlled by the elevators on the horizontal stabilizers which are located on the tail section of the plane. This is how the pilot inclines the nose of the plane upwards during takeoff. If the pilot wants the plane to pitch nose up, he will pull on the yoke, which will raise the elevator. So the air flowing will hit the elevator and pivot the plane nose up. Similarly, if he wants the nose to go down, he will push on the stick or the yoke, which will lower the elevator. So the air hitting the elevator will make the plane to go nose down. The yaw of the plane is the sideways motion of the plane. This is controlled by the rudder on the vertical stabilizer, which is also located on the tail section of the plane. The yaw motion is used along with the roll motion by the pilot to make turns. The pilot controls the yaw motion of the plane by pushing on the rudder pedals using his foot. If the plane has to yaw to the right side, the pilot will press on the right rudder pedal, which moves the rudder to the right, and the air flowing will hit the rudder and pivot the plane towards the right side. The yaw motion can also be used while encountering crosswinds. The rudder can move the aircraft in the direction of the crosswinds, thereby negating its effects. The last motion of the plane is the roll motion. Roll of a plane is controlled by the ailerons present on the trailing edge of both the wings. These ailerons are controlled by the pilot by using the control wheel or the yoke. The roll along with the yaw motion are used while turning the aircraft in the air. When the aileron is moved down, it increases the lift on that wing, and that wing alone will rise up while the other wing swoops down, and the plane turns towards the wing that is down. This happens because as the ailerons are lowered on the left wing, the lift generated by the wing is more because of the increased surface area, whereas the right wing has the same surface area, so the lift remains same and there is an imbalance in the lift between the two wings. That is the reason left wing rises up because of higher lift and the right wing swoops down because of the imbalance of the lift. The wings also have a few other control surfaces like the spoilers, slats and flaps. The spoilers are right next to the ailerons on the trailing edge of both the wings. As the name itself indicates, the purpose of the spoilers is to act as a brake to reduce the airspeed and also to reduce the lift of the wings. As the spoilers are deployed, it disrupts the flow of air over the wings, thereby reducing its lift, and it also resists the air flowing over the wings, thereby reducing the speed of the aircraft. The slats, which are located on the leading edge of the wing, and the flaps, which are located on the trailing edge of the wing, are extended during takeoff and landing. You can actually observe this if you are seated next to the leading or trailing edge of the wing. These are provided to expand the lift generating area of the wing at low speeds, so that the wings can generate enough lift even at lower speeds. The flaps and slats are very important because if they were not present, the runways would have to be much longer and the aircraft would have to have achieved much higher speeds before it could take off. But then with the flaps and slats present, the runways can be made much shorter and the aircraft can take off at lower speeds. This is safer for both people on the ground and also people flying in the air. Once the plane has taken off and has reached a certain speed, the flaps and slats are retracted. This is because if they are still extended at these higher speeds, it increases the drag and therefore increases the fuel consumption of the aircraft. So this was the basics of how an aircraft can fly. If you like this video, please hit that like button and share it with all your friends. For more such interesting videos, please subscribe to my channel and hit that bell icon. By subscribing, you will be encouraging me to produce more such videos. Thank you so much for watching, and until next time, bye bye.